Welcome back to In the Kitchen with Ish, Indigenous Foods Made Simple. Today we're going to be doing a lovely quick meal. It's a roasted whole squash stuffed with a wild rice and mushroom medley with a balsamic maple reduction on top. And it's spectacular, it's vegetarian, you're gonna love it. I love it, so let's go make it. Come on, friends. So what we have here today is a beautiful butternut squash that I picked last week. And we're just gonna season it and treat it like it's a turkey. So this is a vegan option. So anything that you would put on a turkey, I would put on this. So today we have some lovely olive oil, marjoram, poultry seasoning, some salt, and we have some pepper. So let me just wash my hands and then we can get right to it. We are going to put some olive oil on this beautiful butternut squash. We are going to take some salt. Don't get scared with the salt. It's a big squash. And we're going to take some of the marjoram as well. And then we're going to put the poultry seasoning on. And pepper. And then we're just gonna massage it. We need a little more oil. Just get a nice paste on it. Rub it all over. There. Now we're going to put it in the oven. And I'm going to add a little bit of water in the bottom of the pan. So not much water, just to cover the bottom. And then you're going to cover it with tin foil. And this helps actually steam the squash a little bit so it cooks a little bit faster. And obviously then you won't have anything burnt on the bottom of the pan. So we are putting that bad boy in, and then we're going to make the filling. So we have some nice cloves of garlic, some beautiful mushrooms, onions, and then this is a wild rice medley. So we're going to just mix all of these together and then stuff the squash with it to make it more substantial. As I use it as a meat substitute, the stuffed squash with the rice and the mushrooms. It's delicious, you'll love it, don't worry. So we're gonna put some olive oil in the bottom of our pan. And we're just gonna chop our garlic. It's a rough chop, don't worry about it. And if you don't like big chunks of garlic, or you prefer it to be smaller, then do what you like that makes you happy. I'm just giving you the basics here. So our garlic is ready. We're putting that in. We're gonna grab some of our onions. Mix those together. Add your mushrooms. We'll use a little bit more onion. And then I just like to use the same spices and layer the flavors. So we're going to put a little marjoram in this. Like the tiniest bit of the poultry seasoning. And a little salt. And a couple cracks of this pepper here. So we're just going to cook this down. You don't really want much color on it or anything. So we're just going to keep stirring it. And then once these cook down a little bit more, we're going to add the rice into it. And then I'll show you how to stuff the squash with it. And I have a nice little treat for the top. It's a balsamic maple reduction that you drizzle over top, and it's just fantastic. So let me clear this board. and we'll get back to it. So our mushrooms and onions and garlic, they're all hanging out, they're all together, they're becoming best friends. And that's really what you want with food, is to have everything be nice and cohesive. So I use a lot of squash in my cooking. I just love squash a lot. It's a beautiful color, it's delicious, it can hold a lot of different flavors. And also squash is actually in our creation story for the Haudenosaunee people. It's a part of the three sisters. So there's corn, beans, and squash. And they're sisters because they all help each other grow in a different type of way. So those are all very important foods to us. So that's why today I have this lovely squash that we're roasting. And if you have wild mushrooms, you could use wild mushrooms. But if you can't find those, then don't fret. Just use whatever mushroom that you like. And for the wild rice, there's tons of wild rice blends, but it's harder to find just wild rice. So if you're looking, you can go order online or the bulk barn or something like that. But I like this blend. It's nice. There's other grains in it as well, so it's even healthier. So these are cooking down nicely. They're kind of getting their own sauce that they're just making from their natural juices coming out. And you don't want the heat too high or anything like that. You don't want to burn anything. You just want to cook it down nicely. Now I am going to pull out squash that I have had pre-made. And if you find that your mushrooms are too big or whatever, you can just chop them up with the spoon. It's not that big of a deal. Remember, this is indigenous foods made simple. We keep it simple here. Okay. So while these mushrooms are doing their thing, we're just going to keep an eye on them, make sure they don't burn or anything like that. But we are actually going to just move this to the side slightly. And this is the whole roasted squash that we did previously with all of the seasonings on and stuff like that. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to take a spoon and take some of the flesh out so we can fit the mushrooms and the rice mixture. And we're actually going to add that into the mushroom and rice mixture, because you definitely don't want to throw that away. You could also save it and use it in soup or something like that if that's what you prefer. So I just made a little perimeter. Don't take it down too deep. And we just scoop it out in one piece like that. And I am going to put it in this bowl here. And then you just chop it up with the spoon. And then we are going to add it in with the mushroom mixture. So in that goes. We'll move this to the side. And we are also going to add the rice in now as well. So here goes our rice mixture. Now for this rice, I just used some garlic powder, onion, water. You can use vegetable stock. If you don't mind, you could use chicken stock. It's really up to your preference. So this is coming along nicely. We have our mushrooms, our rice. I'm going to add the rest of the rice in. That is looking fantastic. Now I'm just going to add a little bit more salt. Okay. And that's just going to hang out for a minute. And while that does, I'm going to show you how to make the drizzle. So I have a balsamic reduction, and then you just add some maple syrup into it. Woo! Okay. And just give it a stir. And then once all the colors are the same, it's blended together nicely. And this is what we're going to drizzle on top of the squash. We are ready to stuff it now. So I am going to shut this off. I am going to grab a plate. So take your squash out, put it on a plate, whichever you prefer, and then you just simply take your stuffing and you just put it inside. Now we're going to drizzle this on top. Isn't that just beautiful? And that's that. This has been In the Kitchen with Esha, Indigenous Foods Made Simple. Thank you for coming. Like, subscribe. And I can't wait to see you in the next episode with another delicious Indigenous-inspired meal. Thank you so much. Have a great time, everybody.